Hi, my name is Emery, and today we're going to be talking about cover crops and soil conservation. You should care about soil conservation not only as a farmer, but as anyone who enjoys the foods, fuels, and fibers that farmers produce. As a farmer, your most important resource is going to be your soil. And in the state of Virginia, about 34% of our land area is farmland. We're growing crops like soy, corn, peanuts, potatoes, tomatoes, and tons of other things that people love to buy and consume. We want to practice good soil conservation, and that basically means keeping your soil both fertile or rich in nutrients, and you want to keep your soil in place. One problem that farmers often run into is called erosion. And erosion is basically where wind or rain come along and knock your soil out of place. And not only does that take soil off of the fields where you do want it, it puts it into streams and rivers and other places where you don't want it. And this is called sediment pollution. It's another super fun topic to talk about. However, we're going to save that for another day. A second problem that farmers run into is nutrient depletion. And this is basically where if you have a crop, it's going to pull nutrients out of the soil as it grows. And then when you harvest it, you're actually taking those nutrients off the field completely. In natural scenarios, a fruit or a vegetable would grow and maybe be eaten by an animal, but ultimately it would decompose in place and sort of put the nutrients that it took out of the soil back into the soil. But when you harvest crops, that doesn't happen. Another important piece of information to note is that farmers don't grow crops in the same field season after season after season. This depletes the soil. So what farmers do is something called crop rotation, where they will leave a field empty for a couple of seasons, and that just lets the soil rest and regenerate the nutrients that it might have lost when the field was being used for crops. So we have a couple options for cover crops. These are plants like peas and clover. They're not usually plants that you could harvest, but they serve a lot of purposes besides producing like a sellable product. Basically, they mine nutrients up from the bottom of the soil to the top where crops can access them. And they also provide a really valuable root structure to decrease the effects of erosion. And I have designed a simple experiment here to better illustrate how powerful the root structure of cover crops is in terms of decreasing erosion. So I have two paint trays here. One of them is covered in plants, and this is clover, which is a really, really great cover crop for a lot of different reasons, and I could get deeper into that today, but I'm gonna, again, save that for another lesson. And then I also have a tray that's just loose soil. I have a watering can here with just like regular tap water, and as you can see, I can kind of pick up this soil with the cover crop on it, but I can't really do that and pick it up in like one big clump for this just bare soil. So I'm gonna pour water on both of these trays, and that's gonna simulate what it would be like if we were to have like rain fall on our fields, like a field with cover crops and then an empty or fallow field. So here we go. Actually, while we're here, let's form a simple hypothesis. And a hypothesis is just gonna be an if, then, because statement that scientists use as sort of an educated guess on what might happen in the results of an experiment. So for this tray, I might say something like, if I pour water on a tray with cover crops, then I will not see as much erosion because the root structure of the cover crops is holding the soil in place. For this tray, a hypothesis might sound something like, if I pour water on a tray of bare soil, then I will see a lot of erosion because there's no root structure to hold the soil in place. So let's check it out. Whoops. And then this guy. As you can see, this water is a little bit clearer than this water. I even have like huge pieces of soil down at the bottom of this tray that I don't in this tray. And this is because of the power of the root structure of cover crops So I would say that our hypothesis is supported, meaning our results were in line with what we thought would happen. And I hope that you enjoyed our lesson on cover crops and the importance of soil conservation. Thank you for your time.